Alright guys, it's Chatterbox Reviews, coming at you guys with The Brave, Season 1, Episode 3, Review. So, I thought this episode of The Brave was actually, pretty good. I did enjoy it better than last week, although I did really enjoy last week as well. So, yeah, a really good episode. They switched things up a little bit, which I liked. That was one of the major parts of this. I thought, some definitely, some good qualities were shown here from the characters. We got some good character development with one of the main characters, which I really been, really kind of, that's sort of been one of the sort of glaring things sticking out so far, that we haven't learned much background about these people. And we started learning a little bit this week about one of the characters, Hannah, right? So, yeah, I thought that was well done. And overall, yeah, pretty good episode. I'm honestly, this show is really still entertaining for me. Honestly, I'm liking this better than SEAL Team right now. At the moment, I don't know. Just being honest, I do like it better. And for a show that I knew about 2 days before the premiere, and then all of a sudden now I've invested, time doing these reviews, and also, taking time to watch it. And honestly, I'm really glad I did. I really enjoy the show, and I think it's going to be a good season overall. So yeah, definitely still entertaining, still catching my attention here. And, yeah, the pilot was probably the best episode so far. Episode 2 fell down a little bit, but this is kind of going back up again, and it was pretty close to the pilot in my opinion. So anyways, yeah, I'll get into a quick recap here of some of the events, that happened, sort of, the main stuff, important stuff. And then, of course, get to my rating and favorite character, stuff like that. So, yeah. So, basically, we start off this episode with Agent Hugo Vargas. And, basically, he makes this call to the DIA secretly. And he basically tells them that an international criminal arms dealer named Booth. And I do know they did mention his first name a couple times, but I'm just going to refer to him as Booth, because that's, I think, what they called him mainly in the episode anyways. So yeah, Booth is this guy, and, obviously, the DIA has had their eyes on him for a while, and basically, he says that he'll be visiting Mexico in the next 2 days. So, pretty big, right? That window opens up so they can hopefully try to get this guy, because in the past he's been protected by these, countries that are against the United States, right? So they couldn't go in and get him. So, but now he's kind of, taking a risk, and hopefully they'll be able to capitalize on it. So basically, Patricia then convinces all the presidents of the other agencies, which was kind of cool that they had that little boardroom with all the agencies. I thought that was really cool. And I think they should show more of that, maybe even every episode, seeing the board of the presidents of the agencies. That would be kind of cool, right? Because those people are pretty important people. And obviously, Patricia is probably the main sort of, important person in that room for our standpoint, right? Because we're being told the story from her, the DIA perspective. But, really like to see that, more of that dynamic. But basically, she convinces them to put a bug on Booth instead of killing him or capturing him. So kind of a third alternative. And, yeah, obviously it turns out to be very good idea. And, it makes sense what she's saying, right? Because they kill Booth or they capture him, okay, well, they got the leader. Well, someone else is just going to then become the leader, and the same stuff's going to go on, which, totally understandable. So they want to bug him so they can get information, and then eventually, try to crack down his whole team or his whole operation, right? So the presidents end up agreeing with her, and Dalton's team gets dispatched, and basically the mission for this week is to bug Booth and get out of Mexico as fast as they can, and leave Booth with this bug, right? So that's sort of their goal here. Yeah, so I thought, obviously setting up a kind of a unique mission, right? Not like the other two, rescuing women in distress, kind of totally different. And honestly, I don't know why this one, I don't know why they didn't just switch it up a little bit, so it was a little bit different story, opposed to, the two women being rescued in a row with episode 1 and 2. Yeah, so I wouldn't even have minded, seeing this last week as episode 2. So yeah, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents there. So we basically we learn that Hannah, this is kind of where it starts to be, we kind of get into her past a little bit. So she learns about the man who basically gave the orders to brutally kill her on this mission, and basically, like cut her up, I guess, a little bit. And yeah, so I guess like a little bit, but yeah, like to basically cut her up into pieces, and kill her, right, and mutilate her. And yeah, so obviously, not a good guy. And I think she was working an undercover operation. I think that's what was sort of implied there. But his name is Martin Urzua, and he's kind of just a classic cartel guy. But he's pretty ruthless, as we learn. So the guy makes a deal with Booth, actually, and with these guns, of course, and that's actually why Booth is there in Mexico to deal with him. So yeah, kind of Noah reacts to Hannah a little bit at first. Kind of doubtful about her ability on the mission. He goes to talk to Patricia about it, and he really doesn't trust her. He kind of, I don't know. I feel like he could have had more of her feelings in his mind at that time, but yeah, obviously he kind of makes up for it later in the episode, as he ends up comforting her, is there for her, kind of helps her through it along the way. And, I guess that's kind of what Patricia told him to do, right, in that meeting, saying that we need to be there for her. So that was great. And I think there's a great dynamic between Noah and Hannah so far in this series, especially this episode, of course, building on that. We've seen a lot of it, even in episode 1, we saw a little bit of it. But, yeah, each episode we're kind of getting more and more of that. So that's going to be good. I'm not sure if they're going to end up together. I think that's maybe what they're building for here. As far as I know, I think they're both singles. So we'll have to see there where that goes. That would be a loose prediction for me. But yeah, and I wouldn't mind that either. So they kind of seem good for each other. So yeah, then the team basically goes in and meets Agent Vargas. So Dalton's team. It's kind of funny, like they make him wear a blindfold and stuff, because they can't trust him. So that was just kind of a funny thing there. Kind of unrealistic, right? But whatever. I don't know. It's kind of funny. And yeah, so basically Dalton says, Vargas says, tells him that Booth's mistress is his inside source and her name's Sophia. So basically we find out that, throughout the episode we find out that he's actually in love with her, right? Or at least wants her. So obviously that creates a little bit of bias here, a little bit, and stuff that probably shouldn't be there, right, with a witness like this. But we don't know that she feels the same way about him either, so I don't know. But yeah, that's just kind of what we learned about Vargas. Like, he actually does care for her. So basically, he says the mistress told him that Booth would be at the hotel the next day, or at this hotel the next day. And basically, that's when they do the phone switch with the bug, right? They're gonna bug the cell phone that he has and try to switch them out without him noticing, right? So that's sort of the plan that they kind of come up with here. As they get this information that he's going to be in this hotel. So obviously, they kind of obviously question Vargas at first. I think Dalton even suspects that, this girl's pretty good looking. And, he wouldn't be surprised if, Vargas had a thing for her. But anyway, so that goes on more in the episode as well. So, really suspenseful scene in this one. So, basically the team attempts to execute the plan in the hotel lobby. So, first we see the actual plan go down, correctly, right? We see everything, happen that's supposed to happen, sort of. And we see kind of a hypothetical of what's going to happen. And I really like that because it set up, told us and showed, the viewer exactly what they were trying to do. And that's, when the next scene came where they actually were doing it, that's, it also made it very suspenseful. So, yeah, really suspenseful scene. I mean, we even have, like, a countdown overlaying over it. And we're like, is he going to do it? Like, is he, because we're not too far in. So, seeing one of these team members die, I don't know, right? It's possible. So, you just don't know, really. The stakes are pretty high right now. And I will say, very consistent every episode this week, or every episode so far, sorry. And this week especially, the suspenseful scene and action, really great in this show. So that's just another demonstration of that. And yeah, so they're in the middle of the plan, and then all of a sudden, Booth actually snaps his $100,000 phone. It's like a solid gold phone, basically in front of them, and he throws it in the little water fountain there, and basically the plan is derailed. And yeah, so yeah, right, because they were gonna switch the phones that had the bug in it with Booth's. So yeah, the plan kind of totally goes horrible there. And lucky they stopped the explosion from going off before that. But the bad thing is that Amir, well, bad and good for the ending, but Amir actually gets spotted by Booth in the process because he was just about to walk up to him to do the phone switch when, he tears his phone apart and tosses it, right? So he's seen by Booth in this process of doing it, and he kind of gets away quick, but obviously then it comes back later, of course, that Booth has seen him, and that's kind of plays a big part in how they actually end up solving this one. So then another tense scene, of course, kind of follows that one, actually. There's a lot of intense scenes here and a lot of suspense in this episode with this Booth guy, because he was really, kind of a ruthless guy, right? That whole character is kind of developed that way. So, but high stakes throughout the whole episode. So basically then, Jasmine actually goes to this, nail salon that Sophia is at, his, Booth's mistress. And so basically she goes undercover sort of, and she ends up talking to Sophia. And basically Sophia tells her about his necklace, right? So the new mission becomes the team are going to stop Booth, on the road and try to switch out his necklace, right? Because the phone has already been out, but now they've learned, Sophia tells them that he always wears this necklace, so that's going to be a great, thing to bug, right? So, obviously that kind of forms the new plan, and it seems good, right? It seems like a good plan, the necklace, okay, right? It seems like a good plan, but obviously, stuff happens again. So, so the plan, they try to execute it here, and the plan goes wrong again, right? Booth, and this is sort of a theme in this episode as well. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it later. But determination, right? How many times they tried for this guy, and they finally, end up succeeding, of course, in the end. But anyways, I'll get to that a little bit later. But basically, it goes wrong again as Booth tells his driver to turn around, and basically throws off the team's plans because he's kind of starting to suspect something, right? It's kind of as his sixth sense kicking in, where he's like, I don't know, this, it doesn't seem completely right. Maybe something's going on. We're gonna turn around and go the other way, just to keep things safe. So yeah, right. That kind of throws off the team's plans, and of course, McGuire and Amir, and I think it was Jasmine in the back seat, have to hide actually because they're trailing him the whole time, and now they're in front of him, right, driving this way right into him. So they kind of have to hide, and there again, that's another suspenseful scene. So basically, they come up with a great idea, and we don't even really know it, right? As viewers, we don't know what exactly is going to happen here. But basically, Booth and the cars turn around, and they're still able to make something good out of it. So they come up, basically. The plan is, they come up behind them and in front of them. So Dalton's team comes up in front of them. McGuire's truck, or I guess team comes behind them. And basically they're going to act like robbers wearing masks. So I also thought this was kind of cool, the especially Dalton with the cowboy hat and the mask. I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. The way that was done. But yeah, so basically McGuire and Amir, so this is, the plan kind of goes down. So they come in from behind and they take out the back security detail truck, and they kind of drive off the road. So they're kind of taken care of for now. But they don't have a lot of time because obviously they didn't kill they didn't kill everyone in there. And then of course Dalton's truck pulls out in front of them, cutting them off, and he kind of puts truck like this so they don't have anywhere to go. And yeah, so the robbery actually ends up working. They steal the money bag, of course, because they have to make it look like a robbery, right? They want to take something from them. And yeah, we even see that Vargas almost kills Booth. And he's quite close to doing it, but I don't know, the whole time for me, I didn't really feel like it was a suspenseful scene. Like I knew that he was gonna do it, So I don't know. For me, it wasn't, it wasn't as good as some of the other scenes. But yeah, Sophia basically tells him not to. Obviously, Sophia. I don't even know really if Sophia knew that that was them. I think so because Dalton sort of like signaled to her behind them when they weren't watching. So maybe she did, and maybe she did know that was Vargas. So she tells him not to. So obviously it shows that she actually does care about Booth, right? Because he could have just been killed there and then. And obviously that's not part of the mission either. So that wouldn't have been good if Vargas did that. But yeah, so then this was really, a sleight of hand. So Dalton steals Booth's necklace, and basically he switches it when he looks away with the one with the bug in it, right? And he says, "Oh well, no, you take it back. It's not going to be worth anything." And yeah, so he gives Booth's necklace back to him, or necklace, the one with the bug in it, and the bug's planted successfully. So they end up doing it, and then we see back in the DIA that they can hear it perfectly fine. The bug's working, and yeah, it's basically a success. So yeah, that was kind of the end of the mission there, and the team is ready to head home with the victory. But right, this is where I'm talking about determination in this episode. I mean, wow, like they did so many things here to finally get the actual result here of what happened. So yeah, but I thought that was a really good scene there. I thought so quick on their feet, right, in thinking of this stuff. But anyways, I thought that was good. Yeah, so then this is the basically the end of the episode here. So Hannah and Noah then intercept Booth and Keller, who is a security man, talking about Sophia being the mole. So they're starting to figure out that Sophia would be the only one that could feed them information, these robbers information, and that basically that Keller is going to take care of her or kill her the next day for what she did. And Booth is kind of giving her the agreeing to it. So obviously not good, right? Because Sophia was their source. Yeah, she's not, part of the DIA or whatever. But obviously she mattered, quite a bit to them, and especially to Vargas, right? So then we see Hannah's past comes up again, clouds her judgment a little bit, and she ends up telling Dalton and the team to go save Sophia, giving them orders that their new, mission is to save Sophia now without permission from Patricia, and she also, hid it from Noah when he walked away. That's when she did it. So, yeah, obviously, all of it, she's kind of feeling for this Sophia girl as she was kind of put in the same place, and even with the, the same kind of players, right, with Martin Azua before. And Booth is that type of guy, and he's actually dealing with Azua. So, yeah, definitely, her past kind of comes up again. And, yeah, but the problem is, of course, that they can't save her without exposing the bug, right? Because if they save her, then, Booth is going to know that they have a bug on him, and the whole part of that mission would be pointless. So, basically, they finally come up with a plan to make Booth believe it was a different person who had information on him, instead of, and that would save Sophia, instead of, just going in and trying to save her personally. And they're going to blame it on Urzua, which is perfect, right? I mean, just a great plan. So, yeah, the way this planned out, and it played out in like 60 seconds or something. Like, it was really quick. So, you kind of had to pay attention. And that shows a lot of stuff like that. But they go to his house, basically, Urzua's house. Jasmine plants the bag of money there in the back room. And then Amir sits out front when Booth gets there, and he's on the motorcycle, and, he kind of speeds off right when Booth gets there. So that was important because Booth obviously recognizes him from before, as he saw him twice, and they heard it on the bug as well. So they know that Amir has been seen by Booth, and that Booth recognizes him. So they use him, and it's perfectly set up. I mean, Booth totally falls for it, and when he sees Amir out there. And then sort of the cherry on top is that the money bag is in the bedroom and Keller finds it. So yeah, Booth and Keller believe it all, right? Totally. And yeah, basically end of the thing is Booth takes the gun from Keller and kills Urzua for being his mole. And, Urzua did absolutely nothing, right? I mean, he literally had nothing to do with it. So yeah, kill two birds with one stone, right? There's that saying. And that's so true, right? I mean, that's exactly what they did. and Urzua needed to be taken out too, and they did it. So yeah, I mean, so the bug's still in place, and they took out Urzua, right? So I mean, pretty good day on the job, I would think, for those guys. So yeah, lucky that it worked out though, right? Because Hannah gave these orders, and they weren't official orders, and she kind of had some repercussions with that as well. So that's kind of the next thing, but yeah, I thought it was a really brilliant plan again. And yeah, just really quick thinking as well, though, again, because they didn't have much time to do this before they had to kind of get out. And Booth was leaving as well soon. So, yeah, definitely a good plan. And they executed well. So yeah, so then, Hannah kind of has these repercussions. So she basically has a talk with Patricia about it. And Patricia says, they risk their lives. Once you give that order, they are successful or they die trying, right? They're going to do that. And that's sort of where Hannah was out of line, right? I completely agree with Patricia on this one. Now, I do feel bad for Hannah, right? We do feel sorry for her. And I like this background, right? This background made us feel sorry for her. So I think the show really needs to do that with more of the team members as well. We've seen a little bit of Jasmine, but not even that much. So we need to see more of that stuff coming soon, I would think. But yeah, I completely agree with Patricia. I think Hannah was out of line for giving these orders. I understand why she did it, but yeah, definitely, putting people, putting the team at risk when it was not necessarily, what the actual agency wanted. So yeah, basically Dalton and the team say goodbye to Vargas in Mexico there. And they have a comedic moment with Amir as well. Yeah, so just kind of shows the happiness, right? That they have. And yeah, I really like how every episode kind of ends with a happy group event with the team, right? First one, obviously it was kind of ruined, but the fun time on the beach, last episode they had the barbecue little thing there, and then they kind of are gathering around the plane, packing up and kind of joking with each other. So I really like that, right? At the end of the day, happy, right? Obviously, I don't think it's always going to be happy, and it's a little bit, unrealistic for the job, but yeah, just to see that kind of scene where they're kind of all bonding together and seeing, that they do really care about each other and they're actually, real friends. So, yeah, I thought it was a great way to end it off for this episode and, all the episodes so far. And great music selection at the end as well. I really like that song. I've heard it before. I really like when TV shows put in some good songs at the end. I really do, because, or not, not at the end, but like in the episode. I really just feel like it really adds to it, makes it a lot, better than it is already. And yeah, so I really like that. Also, I quickly just want to touch on the Vargas character. I actually liked him. I thought that he was definitely necessary for this episode. We had, Cassie Connor last episode, and now Vargas this episode. Two strong characters, right? And two characters I found myself, caring about in the episode, and just for one episode they've been in there. Only thing is, though, we've probably got more passed on these two than the actual members of the team so far. So I guess that's a, kind of a criticism. But anyways, I thought he was great in this episode. And the actor who played him did a great job in, what was a little role, but it, he made it a pretty big role in this episode. So yeah, great job there. So anyways, that just about does it for the recap of this one. And now I'll get to my rating and some overall thoughts. Alright, so for this episode of The Brave, my rating is going to be a 4.5 out of 5. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode, better than last week's, but not as good as the pilot, right? I'm kind of in between those two, for sure. But yeah, some of the, determination, that was kind of a big theme in this episode, and the other episodes too, right? They kind of in this show, they kind of go in, they get something right off the bat, and then something happens, right, that kind of makes them get more into this mission and do more things and really show off a lot of their strengths. So yeah, I thought a great determination, especially in this episode, and just showing that overall theme. And I think that's a great theme, for anyone watching as well, right? I think that's definitely a real life sort of, determination. That's a great thing, for someone to have. So yeah, I really like that overall theme in the show. And yeah, so the background of Hannah finally surfacing, well, I shouldn't say finally, because just any character finally surfacing. Really, we know a little bit about Patricia now, and quite a bit about Hannah, but not really about maybe Jasmine, I guess. And I guess Dalton, we know that he's been there for a while and doing it, but that's about it. We don't know if they have a family or whatever. We do know that Preach has a family, though, after this episode. So, yeah. But anyways, I like that the background of Hannah finally surfaced. I did talk about that a little bit before, of course. But, yeah, I thought that was necessary. And I think that needs to be happening more in the next couple episodes for us to get more attached to these characters. So, in these type of scenes, like the one with Amir, that we, have a possibility of, them, not necessarily dying, but them being threatened in some way, that we feel for them in that scene, right? I think that's very important for sure. So yeah, I think, a little bit repetitive as well, right? With last episode and this episode, Vargas and Cassie Connor, right? Two, DIA agents that are kind of in the field now, and, they kind of sent the distress call, and that's what, sparked the mission. So, I don't know, right? It's a little bit repetitive, but I like it. I really like Cassie Connor, and I really like Vargas this episode. Two characters are very well done. So maybe that's a positive and a negative, right? But I do find the show a little bit repetitive, and we're only 3 episodes in, so that's probably not the best thing, right? But we'll have to see. Obviously, they switched it up this episode from the last 2, so I think next episode will be different again. But yeah, so that was just a little bit repetitive there. But yeah, so I really like the unexpected twists as well, the surprising twists in this, with the whole robbery thing. I like how they don't show us a lot. They don't tell us a lot, but they show us a lot, right? They just show these actions. They don't show a big scene of all the guys talking together and saying, okay, we're going to put on masks and we're going to rob, right? They show us action scenes of it going down. And I really appreciate that in a show like this. I think that's really necessary. And I really like it. So I like that, they're kind of putting those twists in there that we don't really know about. And then kind of showing us and playing it out. I really like that, for sure. And yeah, great suspense. Like I said earlier, great suspenseful scenes. I think we had like 2 big ones, right? The hotel lobby scene, and the one, of course, where Vargas is, they're robbing Booth, right, in the truck. So, yeah, both great scenes there, and really great suspense and action so far in the series as a whole. So, there you go. Yeah. That's basically what all went into my rating. And I just touched on the acting as well. Acting has been great so far. The only thing I would notice in this one is maybe, I don't know. It's a little bit, I don't know. It's not a huge deal. But just the guy who plays Amir has been a little bit touchy. I feel like in this episode when he... I don't know. I guess, he was playing it right, but just when he was on that motorcycle and Booth kind of saw him, and earlier as well, he didn't really seem like that scared, of him, and I feel like he may have been, he should have been a little bit, I don't know. That's just really, really nitpicking at this point, but most of the acting has been good. I mean, the main character's acting is awesome, but of course, if you're gonna have, but the guy who played Vargas was great, and the Cassie Connor actress was also good. So yeah, I feel like they're getting some good actors for this, especially a show like this where they have actors who just come on for one episode. I really do appreciate that they go out and they get some good actors to play these roles, because I think they're still important even though they're not in the whole series. So yeah, I guess that kind of turned into a positive there. Favorite character for this one is going to be Patricia Campbell, and yeah, she's played by Anne Hetch, or Anne Hetchy, or Heshy, yeah, something like that, and yeah, so I guess she's the number 1 listed on the show, so like when they say starring, I think her name actually comes first before even Mike Vogel. So yeah, I haven't really seen any else that she's been in. And I don't know if that's a bad thing. Like, I don't know if other people have heard of her before. But her and Mike Vogel were like big parts of this show when, we first started to hear about it. So, yeah, so she's a really great actress so far. Honestly, she's probably one of the best, as part of the main character cast. And yeah, we find out a little bit about her past, but hopefully we'll find out a little bit more. I really just like the way she was able to handle Hannah this episode. The way that she, convinced these, basically this room of all these presidents and able to convince them. That was, pretty courageous there, and she's doing such a great job as the leader. And we see that she has a really busy life as well outside of work. So yeah, we'll have to see more about her, learn a little bit more about Patricia Campbell, but I really like the character so far, and I think Anne Hatch is doing a great job, just like most of the other, or almost all the other actors so far on the show. So, anyways, guys, that will just about do it for this video of The Brave. So, if you guys are just joining me now for these reviews, I have episode 1 and 2, the last two, on the channel. So, please go back and watch those if you've seen those 2 episodes. I don't know why you'd be here if you haven't seen those 2 episodes, but yeah, so please go watch those reviews, give them a chance, or at least, just watch a little bit of them and let me know what you guys think. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of this episode as well. Thank you so much for watching this review. Thank you for all the recent support on the videos. Really, really appreciate it, guys. And yeah, so this show is going to be, I think, a Wednesday review day. So it's going to be a day later than usual, but that's just kind of how it works out with my schedule. So do apologize for those who kind of want it the day after. I guess it'll just be a day late, but anyways, yeah, again, thanks for watching, guys, and if you're also new, don't forget, if you want to subscribe, please do. I do a lot of other reviews as well for other shows, so even if you're not, fully on this one, also do SEAL Team as well. So, now I know a lot of people personally that are watching both right now, so definitely, go check that out as well. So, anyways, guys, we'll see you next week then for The Brave, Season 1, Episode 4.
I was only walking through your neighborhood, saw you light on honey in the cold. I stood. Anywhere I go, there you are. Anywhere I go, there you are.